Business as Unusual is a thought-provoking podcast that explores the innovative strategies, disruptive ideas, and unconventional practices driving successful leaders and companies in the ever-evolving world of modern business. Subscribe, comment, and share for weekly inspiration with our host, Aicila.
Welcome to Business as Unusual. Today, I am delighted to introduce Liz Hansen, the owner and photographer at Chicago Boudoir Photography. Liz's boutique studio is dedicated to empowering women to feel confident in their bodies, relationships, and lives. Since opening her commercial studio in 2018, she has photographed more than 2,000 women. Her work has earned significant recognition, including features on the TEDx stage, National Public Radio, and with the Association of International Boudoir Photographers, which I didn't even know existed, so that's pretty cool. Holding a BA in art and an MA in education, Liz brings a unique depth to her craft. She resides in the Chicago area with her husband and 2 teenage daughters. Welcome to the show, Liz.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
I've been really looking forward to this. I think it's such a unique and such an interesting place to inhabit in work and in art, I think. So I'm excited to share what you're up to with people. One of the things when I was, and I encourage everybody to go check out our website, it's beautiful. But it's just even looking at the ways that you talked about what you're doing. And one of the things that you put on there that really struck me was there's a little fact, and it talks about people, will my photographs be retouched? And the very first response in there was, you are beautiful just the way you are. And we will do things to make sure you feel like your images reflect that. I just thought that was such a powerfully inclusive and kind way to respond to that kind of comment or question, which I could see anyone having.
Yeah, so if you've never heard of what I do, it's boudoir, or some people say boudoir. Boudoir is just a fancy French word that means a woman's bedroom. Mm-hmm. And what I do as a boudoir photographer is I've created a space where women can come and we create sexy, sensual photos to help them feel confident and empowered in their own skin. And of course, retouching is part of that, right? Like every photo you've ever seen on a magazine cover has been photoshopped. Any photo you've ever seen in an advertisement on a billboard, it's been digitally altered to some extent, whether it's lighting, skin smoothing, body shaping, right? And so we're also used to Snapchat filters and, Facetune on our phones, whatever else we're doing to our photos. If you want some photoshopping on your pictures, of course we will do that for you. If you've got like a blemish on your face that you don't want to remember for the rest of your life, we will Photoshop that out. And I also want you to know you don't need photoshopping to be beautiful and to celebrate you.
Yeah, you really make that clear. It was such a neat experience to see the transformation that you have there. And I wonder if I have ideas about this. So, and I wonder if there's a story you could tell or an experience you could share that kind of gives a sense of what that transformation is for people, because I feel like I don't know how to say it, like there's this objectification world that we live in. And this feels like the opposite of that, but I'm not sure if I could explain that particularly well. And maybe I'm putting you on the spot, asking you to do that.
Yeah, it is an interesting thing to say. Can sexy photos be empowering for a woman? Mm-hmm. Or are they just playing into that same script that we have, that a woman's body is available for other people to enjoy and consume, right? Mm-hmm. So some people tell me, like, what you're doing is actually anti-feminist. You're just doubling down on the idea that a woman's body is an object. But what I truly believe is that it is the opposite, right? That by showing up and saying, my body is not wrong, there's nothing wrong with it. My body is worth celebrating. My journey is worth celebrating. Every wrinkle and scar is part of my journey and it's part of me, and I want to document it and photograph it. That, you are saying, is the opposite of objectification, in my opinion. It's saying, my body is part of who I am, and I'm proud of that. I love to tell the story about Sarah, who came into my studio. It's a photo shoot. Even though I've photographed 2,000 women, this is one particular session I'll never forget. She was a young mom, 42 years old, when she experienced a sudden massive heart attack in her bathroom in the middle of the night. And she managed to crawl to her phone and call 911. And in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, she literally died and was brought back to life by the EMTs.
Wow.
And she had a series of multiple surgeries to go in and repair her heart after this experience. But she survived. And on the 1-year anniversary of her heart attack, she wanted to be with me in the boudoir studio because she wanted to do something to celebrate that she was alive and feel gratitude for her body. So we took photos, and guess what? All the scars up and down her body, she did not want to have those photoshopped out. She wanted to celebrate those scars. She wanted to highlight them. She wanted to say, I am here and I am alive and I am grateful for it. And guess what? You can do the same with your body. You don't have to have a heart attack to feel that same gratitude and aliveness for being in your body.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I was talking to you about an article that I found that I'll put in the show notes, and it goes along with the surprising fact that one of the surprising facts that you shared is that most of your clients don't book sessions to be sexy for someone else. And in this article, this woman talks about when she first started doing this, her pitch was for people to do them for a loved one or, significant other. And she said what was really interesting was that she found that while those photos were fine, the experience that the women had was not the same. And that when she switched to encouraging people to do it for themselves, she really saw what you're talking about, that acceptance, that empowerment, that feeling of embracing themselves in their own skin, which I thought that was a really interesting testament to the approach that you have.
Yeah, I mean, women come into my studio for all kinds of different reasons, and there's no wrong reason to do boudoir. Some women are in my studio for happy reasons, right? Like they're having a baby, they're marrying the love of their life, they want to celebrate. And some women are in my studio for more difficult reasons. Maybe they just got out of a domestic violence relationship and they're celebrating their freedom. Maybe they have a breast cancer diagnosis. Maybe they've recently had a loss in their life and they are just feeling the need to celebrate life. So it is for you. It's in my opinion, boudoir is a radical act of self-care.
I can really see that. And I wouldn't have necessarily gotten to that prior to reading the things that you were sharing and doing some background research for this. So let's say I'm not sure I'm ready for this. Like I'm intrigued. Maybe someone's listening like, or they don't live in Chicago and I don't know how to find someone that in my area might offer this. What would you recommend for someone who wants to either look into this for themselves or thinks that it might be for them? Are there some tips about how to start your process in this journey?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not here to talk anyone into doing this if they don't want to do it. But if you have like a little bit of an idea that this is something you might enjoy, that you might like, the first thing I would say is boudoir is for you. Boudoir is for everyone. There's no age limit. I mean, I don't shoot minors, of course, so you need to be over 21. But you can't be too old for boudoir, right? You can't be the wrong size for boudoir. You can't be the wrong shape for boudoir. That's because boudoir is not about fitting into a mold. It's about celebrating you and your unique beauty and your journey. So there's no wrong way to show up for a boudoir photo shoot. And the next thing I would say is that we're going to take care of you from start to finish. So you really don't have to know what you're doing. You don't have to practice in front of a mirror. You don't have to know how to pose. I have a beauty team that's going to do your hair and makeup and get you camera ready before the shoot. I have wardrobe to make you look great. And then during the session, I'm going to show you exactly what to do and how to pose. Most people don't know what the camera is seeing. So I'm going to make sure that your hands and your feet and your face look perfect for the camera. We highlight you and what makes you look great. Every photo shoot for that reason is a little bit different. We can customize it just for you.
That sounds awesome. I have a good friend of mine is a photographer and she does headshots for me and she's so kind. And it's always it's so awkward. And I really appreciate that on your website where you talked about, of course it's awkward. You're not a model. Like, why would you expect to like suddenly be good at something that people are actually trained to do? And well, thank you for that validation.
Yeah. And for most people, stepping in front of the camera is awkward. And it's even more awkward for boudoir, right? Because you are in lingerie or doing a nude or implied nude shoot. But the awkwardness of it, the fact that it's out of your comfort zone, that's part of the reason to do it, right?
Hmm.
Part of the reason it's a cool experience. That's part of the reason it's fun and transformational is because it's not just something you've done before that you do every day.
Yeah. What does success look like for you?
Well, I'm a solopreneur. In the sense that I started my own business. I started this 8 years ago. I had never done anything like this before. I didn't have a lot of role models, and I've made a lot of mistakes. But I really, really love what I do. I love running this business. I love meeting women. I love seeing their transformation, and that, in and of itself, is success for me.
That is awesome. What advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Oh boy. I think the most important thing I would say to my 18-year-old self is it's going to be all right. It's going to work out. You have a lot of fears and you have a lot of sense that you are inadequate. You're not good enough. But I want you to know that the reason you feel that way is because you're just getting started. You're just starting to grow up. You're just starting to step into this adult journey. It's okay if you don't have everything figured out right now. You got a lot of years ahead of you. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to have a lot of joy along the way. Just slow down and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, it's great advice at any age, honestly. So you have an all-female team, and I'm assuming that is a deliberate decision. Do men ever want to have boudoir photography?
That's a great question. I do sometimes have men who are interested in this, and also couples sometimes want to do this. My studio focuses on female only. So it's a really female centric space. Women come in and feel like it's just for them. And I do have 100% female staff. So my beauty team, the gal who answers the phone, me taking the pictures, because, sometimes it's nice to have just a female only space. This,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, if men want to do this or if couples want to do boudoir, I'm all for it. It's just not what I specialize in.
Mm-hmm. But it does happen. That was a question I had. Is I was actually talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, is this the thing that men feel like women have this self-consciousness around our physicality? And he was like, yeah, but I don't know any straight men that go in for this. And I was like, that's a good question. Like, where does that?
I don't think it is as popular with men, but I think it could be and should be, right? Like, why can't men celebrate their journey and their bodies also, right?
Right. And like a nice smoking jacket. I mean, that's
Sure.
it's a top hat and a bow tie. I mean, I could see some of these being real fun.
For sure. And I think that the power of being in front of the camera for an empowering session doesn't have limits on who you are.
Yeah.
I've created a female centric space, but I think it could be enjoyed by men as well.
So if there's a photographer out there looking for a niche market, that idea is free. We're giving it to you.
Exactly.
You got this. So what's something that you are excited about in your business?
Well, we are coming up. We have a big kind of awareness month coming up. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Mm.
And we are doing a lot of things here at the studio to promote awareness of helping people and survivors of domestic violence. So we are going to be having a self-defense class. We are going to be putting resources out and donating a portion of every session to our local domestic violence shelter. And even if you're not in the area, I'd love to connect with you on this. I'm at chicagoboudoir.com. Boudoir can be a tricky word to spell, but it's BOUDOIR.com. And if you go there, you'll see what we're doing, and you can download some free ebooks and other things to connect in this self-confidence space.
That sounds fantastic. And is there anything else? So for folks that are listening, is there anything else about how they learn more, follow you, or get in touch?
The best way to get in touch is on my website. It's chicagoboudoir.com. Boudoir can be a tricky word to say, but it's a tricky word to say and spell.
Mm-hmm.
It's spelled BOUDOIR.com. And if you go to my website, you can see what we're up to. And there's a bunch of free resources. I have some free ebooks on confidence and download some printables. You can also find me on Instagram. I'm at chicago.boudoir.
And you said you have teenage daughters. How do they feel about this? I mean, I assume they know what you do.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I get that question all the time. Do your kids know you do this? And of course they do.
Yeah.
I've been doing this full time for about a decade. If I felt like I was doing something that I couldn't tell my kids about, I wouldn't do it because I would feel that it was wrong. But I don't feel like it's wrong. And I feel like it's important, even especially for our teenage daughters, to start understanding that the body is not shameful.
Yeah.
Your sexuality is not shameful. And to build positive conversations about that. Of course, I don't photograph minors. Of course, I don't show my client photos to my teenage daughters. But the conversation around what I do is important for teenagers. What does it mean to say nice things about your body? What does it mean to show up unapologetically as who you are? What does it mean to embrace your journey? All of these things is not about nudity necessarily. It's about taking back the conversation for women and teens and not allowing ourselves to become, what I call like victims of the patriarchy, right? Because like so often women, we can't win, right? We are either, too prude or too much of a slut, right? And where is it that we can exist powerfully outside of that dynamic?
Right. Well, something I noticed is that in America, culturally, like bodies and women's bodies often, and seeing skin is almost always equated with sex or sexuality. And there's not a lot of encouragement for young people to kind of connect to their physicality without thinking about how it's about somebody else's vision, somebody else's pleasure, somebody else's ideas, whatever it is, and to actually find that comfort in their own skin. And when my kids were younger, it was a really important thing for me actually as a mom, was giving that message of this is your space. It's not somebody else's ideas about it. They might be your problem because of how things go, but they're not your fault. And that doesn't define how you live in that. Because I do feel like that's the other piece, is there's this immediate equation to something that is frankly false and damaging, in my opinion.
There are a lot of messages out there, and I think in some ways it's gotten better. Like I grew up in the 90s, right? Like the conversations around bodies and women's bodies in the 90s were not healthy. I mean, there was a lot of fat shaming. There was a lot of your body is wrong. It was like this line between be sexy but not too sexy, right? Like,
Yeah.
And I grew up with like a lot of unhealthy thoughts about my own body and what it meant to show up as a woman, what my role was, what I was allowed to do and still be quote unquote a good woman, right?
Mm.
And I think a lot of that has changed, but I still want my girls to know, they are lovable and whole and valuable no matter what, right? Like there's this idea, I always think about like holding a newborn baby, right? And we love that newborn baby and we value that newborn baby so much. We know how important and valuable that baby is, right? But that baby's never gotten a job. That baby's never lost weight. That baby's never written a book. That baby's never accomplished anything, right? And yet we know how valuable they are apart from doing anything or achieving anything. And somehow along the way, we like develop this idea that our worth is wrapped up in what we do or what we achieve or that we have less worth because of some terrible thing we've done, right? And I want my girls, especially, and all women and all girls and all people to understand that they are valuable and worthy just because they are alive, just because they are human. You have an innate, inherent value that can never be taken away. And that's something that I hope Boudoir celebrates. And that's something that I hope my girls take away from what I do in my business.
Oh, that's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Is there anything else that you want to touch on or talk about that we haven't mentioned?
Well, I would just say, if you're thinking about starting a business, running a business, thinking about doing something scary like a boudoir photo shoot, like I hope that this gives you a little bit of encouragement to just go for it. I wish I'd had more voices telling me to take the leap into the unknown, to take the risk, do the thing, start the business, grab the domain, sign up for the photo shoot, send that email, make that phone call. Like, it's just there. I just think, the world needs you. The world needs your voice. Go for it.
That's great advice. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
It's been wonderful. See everybody next week.
Next week, tune in for my chat with investment research professional Daniel Nikic on Business as Unusual. He shares insider perspectives on navigating risk, private equity, and the human side of decision-making in today's rapidly changing business landscape.
Thank you for tuning in to Business as Unusual. Remember, in this ever-evolving world of modern business, it's not about fitting in, it's about standing out. See you next time. Stay curious, stay innovative, and always keep it unusual. I hope you enjoy the show. I love making it. If you did enjoy it, consider hopping over to the review portion of the platform you listen on and letting other people know about it. Or share the episode or the entire show with a friend or subscribe to the show. Definitely reach out, get on my newsletter, follow me on social media, and let me know what you like, what you don't like, and what you'd like to see in the future. Well, we love our guests. Appearance on the Business as Unusual podcast or any Bicurean consulting production is for information purposes only and is not to be considered an endorsement of their business practices, or character. Please properly vet anyone you find through this podcast and generally before you do any business with them. Thank you for listening.